Hi, guys. Welcome. It's your favorite girlfriends ready to talk football. We have so much to pack into this hour. Welcome back. With 3 weeks left in the NFL season, we've got injuries that could alter playoff paths, unexpected returns, and dynasty franchises facing major crossroads. Ladies, we are looking at a playoff without the Chiefs for the first time in was it 2014 or something crazy?
Yes.
Cheers to that.
Cheers.
All righty. I mean, not for the reasons why. We never want to see a player get injured, but we will definitely get into that later. But ladies, what's new and exciting? Welcome to Wednesday.
My goodness, it's Wednesday.
It's only Wednesday. Is it already Wednesday or only Wednesday? It's only Wednesday in my world, but that is pretty much how 2025 has run for me. So let's keep it going. We're almost to the end.
We're going to keep saying it. Life be lifing.
Life be lifing.
Laura, how about you?
Yeah, well, I was off last week. I was gone last week for the show, so I feel like I haven't been online, on this forever.
Yes. Thanks,
but it was
Steph,
just 1 week.
for watching. Thanks again.
For sure. Thank you, because the show was awesome.
Oh, you watched. Yay.
Of course.
You guys, Laura has the cutest cat, and she keeps posting pictures of the cat in the Christmas tree, and it's like everything to me right now. So post extra love from Auntie over here in Florida.
I will do that.
All right. Well, without further ado, let's talk about all the crazy things that happened this past weekend. It was a close game. Laura, why don't you talk to us about Uncle Phil joining back the NFL? Talk to us
Oh
about
my gosh, Uncle Phil. Yeah. So with the major injury for the Colts, right? They had to do something. And what they chose to do was bring back 44-year-old Phillip Rivers, who has not played football in 5 years. And yeah, the memes immediate, right? And of course, everybody's excited to see what in the world he does. I mean, Rodgers was the oldest quarterback, and now all of a sudden Phillip Rivers is here. And yes, you do gotta love a Fresh Prince reference. There was a meme where someone had put a little, an actual Uncle Phil face on Phillip Rivers' body for the game, which is pretty funny. But the craziest part is that the entire game, he looked like he was going to win that game. It looked great.
Every 49er fan was like, let's go, baby. We were ready. We were like, this is going to happen. And the way it flipped back and forth, it was like, I think you guys know in the chat, I think there was like, I was messing things up because I was watching your Lions game too.
Right.
I had like 3 games going on, and I was like, wait, I don't know what's happening. And you guys are like, Desi. I'm like, I don't know, there's too many games.
I feel like I can't do it.
Well, and then just at the last minute, like Lucy pulling the football from Charlie Brown, a last minute interception lost the game for the Colts. Like, yeah. But it was seriously impressive to watch this man play. I mean, he literally had not played football for 5 years.
100%.
Testament to like muscle memory, right?
Yeah, exactly. And he's starting again this week. It's like that wasn't a one-time like, oh, let's look at this, see what happens. It's real. He's going to play again.
Yeah, well, just real quick, I don't want any Miami fans to get any good ideas. So in this week's meme-tastical moment, that popped up. It's Dan Marino. It says breaking. Dan Marino is reportedly considering coming out of retirement to play for the Miami Dolphins in the midst of their decision to bench Tua. Dan Marino is 64 years old and has not played in the NFL since 1999. So
Could you imagine?
But that's the way this season is going. Like the whole season's been weird.
We're on our 3rd kicker.
Exactly. And then
I mean,
I saw, though, that your third kicker, you're also pulling from former Detroit kickers like
yep.
Matt Prater. So good
We
job.
like our Detroit kickers. I
Yep.
mean, it's better than Young Wei Koo because I hear he's looking for a job too.
Yes, for sure. And I also saw a meme that said next up for quarterback for whoever, Terry Bradshaw. So like that's how this season is going. That I could completely see that the Dan Marino and Terry Bradshaw, like, yeah, let's give it a shot.
Well, I'm trying
Why
to think.
not?
There was a commercial. Do you guys remember? Like not too long ago,
Yes.
like maybe last year, was it Tostitos or something? Where it had like I remember Jerry Rice was out there, and I think they had not
Yeah,
Barry
it was a bunch of
Sanders.
older players that
All the
came
older
back
players.
That wasn't that a Super Bowl commercial? That was a fun commercial.
Yeah,
Some
I
bad
feel like
foreshadowing is what it was.
Yeah, no kidding.
it's true. Beth, let's talk about your game because once again, Bills do Bills things, and I'm starting to understand the stress and the all that goes into being a Bills Mafia fan. So, talk to us about your game.
I mean, this is why Bills fans drink, right? That's why the Mafia does so much drinking. We are a second half team, and I'd really appreciate it if we could be a 4-quarter team. But apparently that's not how we're going to play this season. We came out early, looked real ugly, just could not get anything done, fell behind 21-0. And then we showed up in the second half, and Josh Allen just decided that it was time to win the game. It really, I mean, that's what it came down to. It was just amazing. We had 5 touchdowns back to back on drives in the second half. We were unstoppable in the second half. And just to watch the defense step up in the second half, the offense decide to click. Just all the pieces fell into place. But my God, if we could.
That's the thing. I was stressing out about your game, the Seahawks game. Like there was like so much happening this weekend. But Beth, there's big news to all Bills Mafia. What was the big announcement before this game?
There's a baby on the way. Josh Allen and his wife, Haley Steinfeld, are expecting. They dropped an adorable video on Instagram and TikTok and all of that on her page, not on his. She's got a couple different pages for her business and whatnot. And so it was adorable. There's a little snowman baby involved. There's belly kisses. It was super cute. Everyone in my family knew within moments. My children are excited. Like
it was the baby snowman for me. It was totally the picture with the baby snowman. That was just so darn cute. And immediately I thought, baby Josh. Now there might really be a baby Josh.
If only we could get a picture of our baby Josh with their baby.
Yeah.
Ooh, you know what we need to do is we need to AI their video, just that last screenshot with the snowman, and replace it with baby Josh.
Oh my gosh.
Okay,
Laura, can you get on that?
Oh yeah, I could probably get on that. I could probably do that.
I feel like that's going to be my Christmas card.
Well, that's also a good plug for our socials. So maybe head on over to our Instagram page or Facebook page and make sure that you follow that for when Laura can get that image going up. But the Niners, we faced the Titans at home. Eddie P coming back from his hamstring injury was doing fine with kicking. He continues to be have not missed a single field goal the whole year. I love for that to continue going. So Eddie Money continues to be Eddie Money. Our offense continues to click and figure out ways to make things happen. We did, like within the first drive, Ricky Pearsall he had a hip drop tackle that resulted in an ankle injury, also kind of banged up his knee. And then at the end of the game, re-aggravated his PCL injury that he had previously this year. So like, can we please have a wide receiver? Can that be a thing? Because guess what? Brandon Ayuk will be no longer ever playing in the red and gold. He is officially put on some random list that I never knew existed. Basically, like for those that are going to be retired, and he's just not going to play for the team. So he's done. He's putting cryptic messages up on his Instagram page that makes no sense to me. Maybe it's rap lyrics. I have no idea. I am very too much old for that, but I can't decipher it. Don't really have the energy for it. Sad to see any player go, especially someone as talented as Brandon Ayuk, especially after an injury, all the things. But I guess all I had to say was, well, that's that. And that's just how I'm going to leave it. But we'll talk a little bit here in a moment about Ricky Pearsall's injuries, what that means moving forward, along with some of these other teams that are missing some major players as a result of this weekend. So Laura, one more thing. Oh, and also Brock Purdy he continues, guys, I was telling you about like him rocking the Dougie. You could do the Dougie. He was doing the Dougie last year. This time he like broke out for this big run and came up and like, first of all, he didn't tuck the ball. And I had like a little bit of like, can you put the ball in a safe spot? Like tuck it in. Like, he was like just running with it in his hand. And then he gets up and right before he goes out of bounds, he like jukes the defender and like puts the ball out like literally like you would see a teenager juking somebody out for no good reason. And you're like, wow, that's spicy, Brock. And later you could tell that he was absolutely a little embarrassed by it. He was like, I don't really know why I did that. And like Technics Chick said, like he was even doing this jump throw and Kyle Shanahan after the game was like, yeah, we don't really like when he does that, but when he does do it and it works, we call him Michael Jordan. So, you got Michael Jordan out there doing the Dougie, doing these weird like shake and bakes. I'm here for it. I love me some Brock. We got to win. It should have been a bigger margin. Our defense just wasn't able to hold the Titans. I mean, it's the Titans. So, we got to tighten things up defensively, but we got the dubs. So, Laura, let's shift back over to your exciting Rams-Lions game, because that was another one that us 49er fans were keeping an eye on because we wanted those Rams to catch an L. Walk us through your game.
Well, we wanted them to catch an L too. Because I watched the Bills game, right? And it was such an exciting but nail-biting game, right? And then right after, because we were the 4:25 slot, turn on the Lions. And the Lions start out kind of like the Bills, kind of looking a little sloppy, not great. And I'm like, oh, we just watched the Bills to come from behind victory, nothing to worry about. The same thing can happen. And then the Lions came alive and they were doing a great job. And it was like, yes. And it was just shootout, score, back and forth. And then there was probably one of the most controversial calls when there was a touchdown that was ruled touchdown on the field. And then they had to review it because it was a booth. I believe it was a booth review. Actually, I don't remember that. But after they came back and said, oh no, it stands, even though literally every single angle, it wasn't questionable. Every single angle showed that his knee was down before the end zone. Like it was not a touchdown. Like even they showed the 49ers play callers in the booth who looked shocked when it was ruled a touchdown.
I was shocked. I was mad for you. I was like, damn it, that is not a touchdown. And even I think the announcer said that maybe it was because he lost possession and then regained possession once he was in the end zone.
Yeah, but he was already touched. He was already down.
Girl.
So can you recover your own fumble?
Girl, I was salty for the Lions.
Because I believe you can regain possession, but you can't gain yardage. So it would have been where his initial knee was down if it's the same player. So you can regain possession, but it would be at the spot of where you lost the ball if you are the same person to recover it.
Exactly.
NFL, you have someone you can hire here. Just
And he had a lion on top of him the whole way. It's not like he was touched, fumbled the ball, recovered the ball, and got in the end zone. There was a lion literally on top of him.
He was
the whole time.
Was it like De'Aaron Dawkins and his pancake?
Yeah, exactly.
I love that so much.
That was one of the best pictures from, but to be fair, I don't know that even though that call was stupid and it shouldn't have happened, chances are they were going to get a touchdown in the next play anyway. It wouldn't have mattered. Like for the score, it wouldn't have mattered. It was just stupid. It was just literally stupid. And in the end, it was close, but we made a couple of key mistakes at the end and weren't able to come back from it. So and literally this season has been win, loss, win, loss, win, loss, win, loss for us.
Yeah.
So hopefully we maintain the streak and we can beat the Steelers, that we will actually win this next game. But it's been a frustrating year because of that. Like we can't seem to gain momentum. Last year we won 15 games, and this year we just win, lose, win, lose, win, lose. So it's tough.
I will say the Rams were really good at setting the edge, and Gibbs just could not cut around. I mean, that was very impressive because I haven't seen anybody do that as well as they did against you guys this past week. What up, Terror Dome? Our buddy Terror Dome's in the house. Hey. We missed you, buddy.
Hey.
We are going to have him on the show coming up in just a few weeks. He is our resident DJ of the Girlfriends in Football podcast. So we can't wait to see what he comes up with for all of our winners of Rate the Fit. And right now, I think now is a great time to talk about it. Week 15 did not disappoint. So let's get into it. Rate the Fit. Yeah. So it came close once again. And this man we've talked about already, and we're going to be talking about more moving forward, was Ricky Pearsall. He came through. This guy knows how to wear glasses. Like, I love his glasses selection. If you follow him, you just know this man's always got glasses on. But he's got the leather jacket, the white button up underneath with the tie, the black pants, the black bag. I mean, he just looks like he is ready to go. And, he was for like a half a drive before he got injured. He did come back, though, thankfully. But you're talking about like just being able to gain momentum. We would love to be able to gain momentum with Ricky Pearsall. This poor guy's been back and forth with injuries in his first 2 years in the NFL. So Ricky Pearsall, you won our Rate the Fit this week. So congratulations. Woohoo! So we're going to move on to our next segment because there is a lot that happened in the NFL this week in terms of injuries. And so you've got Dr. Beth here in the house. You've got me, the PA, and we're going to chat through some of these things and what these might mean moving forward for some of these teams. So we're going to move on to sports and medicine. Right, we already talked about it. Patrick Mahomes got injured, and with that, so did the Chiefs' hopes of going into the postseason this year. But this was a gruesome injury. I had just turned the show on, or the game on, and I was on a Twitter, what do you call it? I don't know, talking with a bunch of people on Twitter. And I turned the game on and I was like, whoa, did you guys see that? Because as soon as I saw the play, I was like, oh, he's done. He's done. So you can see here, I have the picture up. He's getting tackled. He was kind of like actually just kind of shifting out of the way from that tackle. And he happened to have hyperextended his knee, but also have some pressure that actually pushed out what we say laterally and added pressure onto what's called the LCL. So I'm going to put on a picture here of the knee. So it's been confirmed that Patrick Mahomes injured an anterior cruciate ligament, which is the ACL, and the lateral collateral ligament, the LCL. Both of those injuries happened in his knee. So both ligaments got injured. Within 48 hours, he flew to Dallas, Texas, to have an evaluation done by a surgeon there that specialized in LCL injuries. And I think it was the same surgeon who took care of Travis Hunter from his LCL injury. So the reason why he was able to go through surgery already, because as we'll talk about our next player who also has an ACL injury, he's still waiting for surgery. But Patrick Mahomes had to have surgery sooner because the LCL is a true repair. So they're repairing that ligament. Whereas the ACL, what you're doing there is you're basically clearing that all out and putting in a whole new ligament. It's a reconstruction. So an ACL reconstruction surgery is what is going to be done. So Beth, let's hear your thoughts on this injury and what are the expectations for Patrick Mahomes as he starts his rehab process that I think starts this Friday.
Well, I think what you just said, he starts rehab on Friday. That's amazing. We are looking at two ligaments that were damaged pretty severely. ACL repair and your LCL. So your LCL requires a lot of time to heal. It doesn't have great blood supply. So it's going to take a little bit more time, which is why they wanted to go in right away to reattach and provide that stability. What is great about this is because it was all done so quickly with, sounds like without too much difficulty, there's a chance they're talking about him being ready to play at the beginning of the season next year, which would be crazy for him to be able to be ready to go at that point in time. But we've seen crazier things in the NFL, obviously. But I do think that chances are he will be back to play, and he's going to come back with a vengeance. I think, he's not somebody who's going to lay down and not work this through as quickly and intensely as him. So he's going to do a great job with it.
I agree. I think that he has an exceptional group of people around him that are doing right by him. If you guys watched I think it was season 1 of Quarterback and watched his trainer work with him and the people that have helped him be prepared for his in the off season, getting ready for in season, he has great support. And so I agree. I think he's going to attack this. He's someone that the NFL needs. We've enjoyed watching his play. Aside from just being haters because we're not Kansas City fans, but truly he's a remarkable athlete, a remarkable person in the NFL. So we'd love to see him come back. Interestingly, there was something I was going to say, I was going to point out and I forgot. Oh, he also, so I kind of always thought he was a little bit more at risk for an ACL injury. If you watch Patrick Mahomes walk, he kind of walks hyperextended a bit already. Right? So I have someone in my family that walks that way too. And I always worried about an ACL in that person because you kind of just have a little bit more tension on that ligament as is.
And you start with more instability. You don't have as much give when the injury does happen. You don't have as much leeway to play with because you're already
endpoint is different.
At your endpoint.
Yep. You hate to see it. So that's Patrick Mahomes. Now, same day, different team, Green Bay Packers lost an incredible guy who was actually in the MVP talks, or he was in the talks for Defensive Player of the Year. Micah Parsons was having a crazy year, and he goes out with an ACL injury. So I'm going to put up a picture of that. His was non-contact. So he was kind of coming in. You can see, I think it's with Bo Nix right there. Bo Nix. And so he was coming up. He planted on his left leg and then went to cut inside. And this is exactly the cutting motion. I caught it right in that moment, is where as soon as his leg comes up, he falls down and grabs his knee. So this is classic. You kind of stop and pivot is what can tear that ACL. And again, he has a pure ACL tear. So they're going to wait to do surgery. They're going to let the inflammation calm down and some of the swelling calm down before they go in there to do the reconstruction, which is where they're placing a whole new ligament in place of where the tear was.
And that's why it doesn't have to be immediate. So with the LCL, you're using the structure that's already there and reattaching it and connecting it, right? When we talk about an ACL repair, we're not reattaching the ligament together. We're not using the same ligament. You are putting in a cadaver ligament. You are taking ligament from some tendon tissue from your own body from another spot and grafting it into that spot. So that's why the timeline doesn't have to be as immediate, because there's nothing there to salvage.
Correct. Now, the thing I want to talk about in regards to both of these players is the return to play. So yes, they may both return to play in this upcoming, 2026 season. However, I wouldn't expect either of them to look like they did before they went out. The studies have shown that, yes, they can return to play, but it might not be until 2027 that we see them return to the same level that they were prior to injury. So that would be the expectation. Now, would we expect Micah Parsons to make a return prior to Patrick Mahomes? I think yes. Beth, would you say yes, because it's a pure ACL?
Because it's a pure ACL, yes. I think and what he does in comparison to what Mahomes does, right? So Mahomes does a lot more backpedaling. Mahomes does a lot more lateral cutting. Mahomes does a lot more of that shifting movement, where Micah Parsons, when you're looking at those defensive players, you do some of that, but it's a lot more just moving mass, right? You're looking at full force moving forward and less of that cutting, agile quickness. So we could see him coming back quicker, not being as agile as he was, but he doesn't necessarily have to be in order to move mass sometimes, right? Where Mahomes' job is to literally avoid other people at all costs. So it would be more dynamic for him to return.
Yeah, and that will take away some of his run. He's a running quarterback. I mean, this is a guy that scrambles and puts his body in these contorted movements to get the ball out. So it'll be interesting to see what he looks like when he comes back. But best wishes for both of those athletes. We're sad to see them go, especially with their teams, what they mean to the teams that they're on. So I want to circle back real quick to Rate the Fit. Terra Dome came through with another spot on song that goes with what Ricky Pearsall had on. So I'm going to put Ricky Pearsall back on for a moment. Boom. And then let's see it. Terra Dome came up with Sweet Dreams from the Eurythmics.
I think that's spot on. Absolutely spot on.
Like, knocked it out of the park, Terra Dome. Telling you, you've got skills, man. Got skills. All right. So let's go back over to injuries, because there was another wild. Well, we're still talking about knees. So real quick, Ricky Pearsall injured re-aggravated his PCL, like we said earlier, and also sprained his ankle. I had tweeted out kind of right when it happened. I'm like, well, I wouldn't expect him to play this weekend if both the ankle and the knee were in the same leg, because when you have an unstable ankle and now you've already got a tweaked knee, Beth, talk to us about what that means for injury.
Well, particularly if you're on the right side, not the right side, on the same side, sorry. If the injuries are on the same side, you are then going to favor that leg significantly. So think about any time you have an injury or something is sore, especially if you're talking right side or left side. If you sprain your right ankle, you are then taking weight off of that right ankle. You're using your left side more. And next thing you know, 2 days later, you wake up and your hip hurts, right? Because you are doing so much work to avoid putting pressure and using that injured side that the opposite side is going to take some of the brunt of that. When we're looking at him, we've got injuries on both sides now, right? So we are already straining different body parts and different injuries. So we're looking at an ankle on one side and knee on the other side. We're now favoring different joints for different reasons. There's no way he can't take a step without something being irritated, right? The second you take away one joint, the next joint up the chain or down the chain is going to take the brunt of that, which just as we looked at, who is the player who had the fibula fracture that then had the Achilles tear? last week?
That was Daniel Jones, right?
Daniel Jones, right?
Mhm.
So, and we had kind of spoke on that as well, right? Once you start accumulating injuries, other body parts have to take over. And if they're not strong enough, you're going to have more significant injuries. So, with these two things that are happening right now, it's just going to compound because he's not able to, there's nothing left to rely on, I guess, if that makes sense.
Well, the good news is I looked it up beforehand. It's the right knee and it's the left ankle. So I don't think the ankle is that big of a problem because that's the injury that happened like in the first drive of the game. And he was able to return and come back and play. And then the re-aggravation of the knee was at the end. So yes, pterodome, like we had said.
Injury.
Correct. He had already been suffering with a PCL earlier in the season. So what does that look like knowing that they're on contralateral legs?
I think kind of similar to what I said, you talk about the ankle probably was injured because if he had healed some from the PCL, right? So it wasn't as though it was bothering him significantly. But now we're looking at dynamic on both sides. So when you're cutting, you can't favor one side. You can't say, I can cut to the right and I feel better. I cut to the left and I don't feel well. Now we're looking at injury on both sides. When we're cutting, when we're making those dynamic movements, we are now irritating both sides of the body. So he's not going to have a favored position or a favored movement because they're both irritated. It sounds as though the ankle, like you said, is not going to be a big deal. Hopefully that will heal fairly quickly. PCLs can be tricky. They don't always need surgery, but they get re-aggravated and can cause a lot of trouble down the road. So I would pay attention to his right side and ensuring that we're not injuring that side more because he's going to be favoring that PCL side pretty heavily now and, through rehab through the rest of the season. So.
Right. And Niners fans, we saw Mac Jones out there with a knee brace for his PCL injury and aggravation. It's a little trickier for a wide receiver to be running top speed with a clunky brace on their knee. So it'll be interesting to see what happens and how he progresses through practice or through the days this week leading up to. We are playing.
I believe that's what Kincaid had as well at the end of last season, a PCL injury, which was re-aggravated during preseason this year, and he was out a few games as well. Coming back to that PCL, it's like I said, it's not necessarily a surgical repair. It just is one of those nagging injuries that minor irritation can really re-aggravate them quickly.
Yeah. I mean, thankfully we're playing Monday Night Football, so we get an extra day to rest. So we shall see if we will see a return of Ricky Pearsall. All right, guys, we're not done. There's still more injuries in the NFL. We want to talk about this really fascinating. Okay, let me circle back because last week we talked about briefly, and even Laura's talked about it today in the beginning of the show. Phillip Rivers had to come in for an injured Daniel Jones. The reason why Anthony Richardson could not fill in as the backup QB was because he had this orbital bone fracture that was causing nerve irritation and blurriness into his eyes. And we had talked about, you've got to be careful when you're dealing with nerve injury. You don't want to push somebody back if there's blurred vision, yada, yada. And so guess who's coming back off is now Anthony Richardson. So they've now allowed him to come back to practice. So we'll be able to see what that looks like. I can't remember if I feel like I saw reports that it was going to be Phillip Rivers again, but I think, yeah. Okay. So we'll see how Anthony Richardson progresses because that was just a crazy, crazy injury that he sustained. Along with that, TJ Watt, it came out that he had a collapsed lung from dry needling. And I was like, what? So those of you who watch our show or know, been around long enough to know who we talk about our partners often. My husband is a physical therapist, and immediately he was like, well, it happens. He's like, shouldn't happen, but it can happen. So I'm going to show you what the lungs look like so we can talk about what exactly is a collapsed lung. It's also called a pneumothorax. So if you look at this image here, you see that there's a completely inflated lung, a normal looking lung. And so the lung is encased in, like, think of a balloon inside a balloon. Okay. The outermost balloon is this pleura that usually is not filled with air. It's the inner balloon, that's your lung, that's filled with air. But if air gets in between the two layers of those balloons, the outer balloon and the inner balloon, then that causes a loss of pressure and collapses the lung. So you can see, if you're watching us on YouTube or if you're watching us live, you can see that there is a space in the, if you're looking at the image, it's on the right side. It's really going to be the left lung, but on the right side, you can see where there's air in the pleural space, and the collapsed lung is all kind of shriveled up. So that is what happens. So whenever air gets into that pleural space, it can collapse the lung. So when you're talking about dry needling, the needle went too far and it went into that pleural space and added air and collapsed his lung, is essentially what happened. He then, so this happened on a Wednesday at the on site at the facility. He was rushed to the hospital. They were trying to, so the way that they can treat this is, sometimes if it's small, not every collapsed lung looks like this picture where it's this huge space and huge air that's kind of there. Sometimes it's just really small and you can only really barely appreciate it on a chest x-ray. So I don't know how large his collapsed lung was. Sometimes you just watch it and it can kind of self-repair. Sometimes you have to go in there and kind of take a needle and decompress it. That means pull out the air so that the lung can reinflate. And sometimes you actually have to have surgery, which is what he had. And the surgery is called a pleurodesis, a chemical pleurodesis, where it kind of just allows, again, if I'm talking about balloons, because I'm trying to reach the people who are going to listen to this on our anywhere that you listen to podcasts, on Spotify or what have you. If you think about a balloon inside a balloon, you now have the two layers of the balloons kind of stuck together. If you put like crazy glue in there and they stick together. So now it can't collapse back down. So he underwent surgery and was discharged from the hospital on Friday. So very unique story. We're so glad that he's doing well, but it's going to be probably a little bit before they rush him back onto a field, especially depending on how severe and how bad the pneumothorax was, or the collapsed lung was. So I'm going to go back to Beth, who is a physical therapist. Typically, people who do dry needling are physical therapists. I want to talk to you about, how does this happen? And is there other people that may do this that would not be a physical therapist? Or, just kind of talk to us about your thoughts on this.
So there shouldn't be. So dry needling is a certification, just like an acupuncturist, right? You have to have a certain number of clinical hours and training. It's a pretty significant and intense program on top of our physical therapy degree already. And you have to do additional continuing education and recertifications for it. This injury is very rare. And that is because it's not an area that we typically will dry needle. Those who do dry needling in these areas. So in order for a therapist to do dry needling in that area, you take additional training to make sure that you have your anatomy as crisp and clean as you can in order to do this area. The injury, because it all is based off of the angles that you're looking at, where the needle goes in, how deep you're pushing the needles in, and the portion of the body that you're working on. A lot of therapists who do perform dry needling don't touch the neck. They don't touch some of the back muscles, some of the shoulder muscles, and along the spine, for this very reason, because there is a risk of pneumothorax. My assumption is whoever was doing this has had all of the training, is well versed in their anatomy, and it was just a freak accident as much as it could be. So it is, I know many therapists who will not touch certain areas of the body for these risks. But if you've been doing it for a long time, it's very, very rare that these injuries occur. So we wish him all the best. I really hope that he heals up quickly. And they were very closed mouthed about, who did it, what happened, all of those things. And we've talked a lot about how many physical therapists are involved in treatment and care. So I don't have those answers, but I do know that you have to be a physical therapist in order to perform dry needling.
Okay. Well, thank you. Yes, wishing him all the best. Guys, we're still not done. We're still not done. Concussions. There have been a couple. Most notably, last week, we didn't even get to talk about it, but CeeDee Lamb had a terrible concussion. And, you saw his hands kind of come up in an awkward movement, which is very similar to what we saw with Tua. And somehow he came back this past week. There was only a week between that and this week. I can't even make sense of that. You can't. Beth, do you have?
There's no way that he's not experiencing symptoms. Mm-hmm. It's almost impossible to imagine that he's not experiencing symptoms. Whether they're going off of his report and therefore letting him play, similar to the T. Higgins fiasco against Buffalo a couple weeks ago, or not. But there needs to be shame on the NFL, shame on their trainers. Mm-hmm. I would not let him out there.
Yeah, that looked bad. So again, CD, we hope that you're okay. We hope that, you continue to do well. I think Laura even put in the group chat, there was a report that Jackson Dart has had 10 concussions?
I believe it was 5 concussion reviews over 10 starts. So he was in the tent concussion review half of the time he was playing. And I mean, he's literally still a kid. He's one of the youngest players. He was this draft class. So yeah, the fact that he's had so many concussions or at least close calls is, that's disturbing. That's a disturbing fact.
Yeah.
Well, and we had said that him and Scadaboo, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, they are both balls to the wall players. And right. When he was asked, I believe when Dart was asked about it, he was like, that's how I play. That's my style. I'm all in or I'm not. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, it's going to make for a short career for a very good player.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, the football is a violent game, literally getting trauma level injuries, for such a violent game. So, all right, we're finally through all of the injuries that we wanted to talk about this week. So let's jump into cocktails and mocktails. It's about that time. So let's do it. Here we go. Yes! This week, ladies.
All right. So Kirk Cousins was not doing the Dougie this week, but he was doing he was swag surfing because somehow the Falcons pulled out a win against Tampa Bay. I'm not quite sure what's happened with Tampa Bay, and that might be a whole episode in its own right, but the Falcons pulled it out. So this week it is the white peach margarita for our cocktail. We did our cocktail. I made this. I am not drinking it tonight, but I made this when Laura was in town at the beginning of the season, and it is fantastic. It's kind of ours ended up being a little bit more like a smoothie because of the peaches pureed. I probably could have done something different, but I kind of liked the smoothie feel to it.
I liked it too.
But white peaches, some tequila, a little triple sec, lemon juice, and some a good quality honey. I am learning to really appreciate good honey over the cheap stuff sometimes. And it is just, it's like sweet, refreshing. It is a great margarita. And Georgia's the peach state, so we had to give homage to that.
All right. And then this one's for you, Kirk.
And and Kirk needed his spicy margarita mocktail. Okay, so it's jalapenos, which I put in everything whenever I can. I love some good jalapeno. Cilantro, agave nectar, celery juice, lime juice, and salt water, basically. It is just a great spicy kind of fun cocktail that you can add alcohol to if you want, if you also want to just make it a spicy margarita. But very good. Make it happen.
All right, swag surf with it. I'm here for it, man. I'm serious. Like, I am not a Falcon. I mean, obviously I'm a Niners fan, but going to Atlanta, like I've told you guys, I will never miss a game in Atlanta if I get invited, because the swag surfing is real, the shows are real. So yeah, give me that margarita all day and some swag surf. That sounds so much fun. All right, well, guess what's up?
Hey.
Week 16. All right, Laura, take it away, mama.
I cannot believe we are almost at the end of the season. Week 16, then oh my gosh. So yeah, here's what we've got going. We've moved on to the point where we have Saturday games, so it feels like that there is just a ton going on, right? Let me get this little guy out of the way here for me. But all right, so we're starting out Thursday night football tomorrow. Rams at Seahawks. Desi, I was very surprised that you chose Seattle to win this one.
Let me explain.
All right.
The Rams need to lose for the Niners to do better. Like the three of us, it's the Niners, Rams, and Seahawks. We're all kind of jockeying for position. So I at least need the Rams to lose one. And so, yes, I have to be a Seahawks fan this week. You ladies might be right, but this game is being held in Seattle. And so it's the loudest.
And a Thursday night game. Thursday night games have been surprisingly good.
Yes.
Yes, agree. And actually, I love the commentator. I love everything about, like, Thursday night is the new Monday night. Like, that's how I've been feeling. Anywho, I digress. So yes, I have to be a Seahawks fan this week. I need Darnold to do his thing. I need Jackson Smith and Jigma to like play lights out. Like, I just need the Rams to catch it out this week.
Well, and I get what you're saying, because looking at the Saturday Packers-Bears game, that's a similar dilemma for me. Right? And I went with the Bears, kind of because of the Packers tie. That sort of makes the record weird with the NFC North. So I went with the Bears, and so did Beth. But Desi, you went with the Packers.
Yeah, which makes no sense because we just talked about, them losing Micah Parsons. I still feel like I have faith in the coach, the Packers. I feel like the Packers still could, even though they're injured and battered. I don't know. And plus, I just can't get down with Caleb. Caleb Williams is just not great sportsmanship. My husband was really upset with, him last week. I guess when Myles Garrett was trying to get him, to sack him, he decided to, anywho, it was not great. I get it. I mean, no quarterback wants to get a sack. Anywho, so I'm just being petty. I'm going to say Packers. We'll just see. I knew when I was picking this week, I was like, I'm making picks for petty reasons, not
football reasons.
Not football reasons.
That is fair. We do tend to do that a lot.
Which is football is stupid week. So
yeah, exactly. All right, the other Saturday game, we've got the Eagles and Commanders. Again, we're split. Desi, you picked the team that we did not. So you went Commanders, we went Eagles.
Commanders.
That's yes. Although It is the Commanders.
I don't know. I felt like Debo still's got some gas in the tank. Marcus Mariota's now like he's now going to be QB1 the rest of the season. You saw how he dressed last week. Man means business. So like, I don't know. The Eagles don't quite know who they are at the moment. They've got some fractured things happening, and Commanders can sneak in. We'll see.
Yeah. Then starting Sunday, we've got no big surprise. We all picked the Bills over the Browns. Beth, do you have any thoughts on this one in particular?
I would like this to be a true statement. Please don't lose to the Browns is really all I can say.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. And I mean, sometimes Desi and I are on opposite ends, but all three of us will root for the Bills every time. So I don't think there's been a time this season that we have not been rooting for the Bills.
I think I picked once again.
I'm pretty sure Desi picked against me one. And yes, I remembered.
And she learned her lesson.
But no, I think I was right on that one.
That was that one?
I think that was that week that I just threw everything. I was like, I got to catch up to Beth. Anywho.
All right, Chargers, Cowboys. We all picked the Chargers over the Cowboys. I think, again, none of us like the Cowboys, so no big surprise.
Yeah, but I don't know. My gut says I should have picked the Cowboys, but again, this is petty week, so I'm picking
I had several that after the fact I was like, what was I thinking? But I also did it in a rush. And I'm
like this Chiefs pick on the next game.
because here's the thing. They're out of playoffs now. They can win.
That's true. So yeah, Chiefs Titans. Desi and I picked the Titans. Honestly, I don't know that they will win. They're the Titans. But again, I don't love the Chiefs. But you're not wrong, Beth. There's no
Patrick Mahomes. There's no Patrick Mahomes. There's like Kelsey is not, he's been like a shell of himself. So what is he going to look like with I don't even know who the backup is, like what's that going to look like?
Right. It's like a whole new team. So correct. Nobody knows what they're expecting, what to expect.
You could be right.
Yeah.
And look, no one will care if they win now.
This is what I'm saying. It's the one time that I can pick them and not.
Right. All right. Jets, Saints. We all picked the Saints. I mean, this is sort of a low end of the spectrum from both sides. So, hey, yeah. Thank you, Tactics Chick, for bringing this up. Gardner Minshew is the backup. So,
Minshew mania fame.
Exactly. But yeah, Jets, Saints. This one was probably a toss-up. I mean, the Saints have beaten a few teams that they shouldn't have, but for the most part, have not been having a great season. But the Jets are the Jets. So, but speaking of New York, we have Vikings, Giants. We all picked the Giants.
Again, I don't know why.
Jameis. I mean, I was 50-50, and I was like, I know he's like not playing. I'll just still.
He's still not the quarterback, but you're going to pick them anyway because he exists.
Exactly. Buccaneers, Panthers. I picked the Panthers because they've won a few. I mean, they are weirdly in contention. But yeah, the Buccaneers, of course, are the Buccaneers. So I went with the Panthers. You all went with Bucks. I don't think that's thank you. Yes.
That is I did that just because I can't imagine the Bucks losing more.
Sure.
But
that's really what it came down to. I was like, I can't imagine them losing another game.
That and Laura, I was also like, I did like pause on this game and was literally, I do see a possible universe where the Panthers win this. But, I want to say, Mike Evans should, like, this is the second game back. Like, maybe they just needed to dust some rust off of it or whatever. But yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if Panthers do win this, but I think I fell in the category that Beth said.
Yeah, well, they've won a lot of games they shouldn't have this year, so nobody was expecting much out of the Panthers, and they're in contention. So, all right, Pats, Ravens again. Peak petty. None of us like the Pats, so we all went for the Ravens.
Wait, I wouldn't say I don't like the Pats, but I just feel like the Ravens, this might be like their oomph game. Like, all right, let me squeak one out right. And I just feel like the Patriots have been winning. I think an L's going to just be kind of sneak in there. I don't know.
They just lost last week, by the way. If you were curious,
Yeah, but I keep not wanting to believe a couple teams, and the teams I don't want to believe is the Patriots, and I don't want to believe the Broncos. I
don't think I agree with you. I think the Patriots are going to have that rough end of season timeline. I mean, they're real and they're going to be real in the future, but I don't, again, it's not this year. I think this will be an interesting game. I think it's going to be a very good game.
Plus, Vrabel shaved off his mustache, so
he really did. Yeah, during the Bills game, we were like, Vrabel, put your mustache back on.
Oh, that's funny. I didn't even pay attention to that.
All right, Jaguars, Broncos. We all picked the Broncos. I don't think we need to say.
I don't know why. Yeah.
I was going to say the same thing. And I was, after I just said, I don't really believe in the Broncos, but
there you are, believing in the Broncos.
But also I don't believe in the Jaguars either.
Exactly. There are a few of those games this week. Then, of course, we come to the Steelers-Lions 425 game that I will be watching very intently. It's at home. The Lions have been playing well. Actually, I can't say that. The Lions have been playing well every other game, and this is a game after a loss. So let's hope that continues and they beat the Steelers. So
well, and again, Steelers without TJ Watt, you got a banged up Rodgers. I mean, yeah.
God, why is Rodgers still? Oh, okay. Let's move on.
Yeah. All right, Raiders, Texans. We all do believe in the Texans, I believe. So we all picked them.
However, Buffalo needs them to lose.
Even though
they don't need them. That's one option, is that the Texans need to lose.
Sure.
For our playoff picture. But they're playing the Raiders, so I don't need to lose a point on that one.
Fair. All right, Bengals, Dolphins. I found it interesting, especially knowing that they benched Tua, that you all picked the Dolphins while I picked the Bengals.
Well,
I did not know they benched Tua yet.
Oh, fair.
Number one. Number two, I knew that Burrow was out. So I was in the impression that Burrow was out or not Burrow's out, but Burrow is not playing football well.
Yeah, he's less enthusiastic about his current career choice.
He benched himself.
Yeah.
He's benching himself internally. and the Dolphins, have weird games where they're still surprisingly competitive, and then they benched Tua, and I was like, oh well, maybe not.
I literally flipped a quarter. Like, that's just where we are. I'm like, I don't know. Either quarterback is just no. I don't flip a quarter because I didn't have it on my bingo card that the Bengals were going to go 0 last week. So
right.
It's kind of how who gave up? The Falcons gave up, and then they started playing football again.
And then they gave up.
You gave up football. I feel like Burrow has given up football at the moment.
I think I genuinely believe that he has. He's so tired of. I mean, that's what I was saying a couple weeks ago, right?
Drilled into the ground because he doesn't have an offensive line.
Yeah. I think he's an amazing quarterback, and if they would let him go, I think he could do great somewhere else. I mean, he reminds me of a young Matthew Stafford, and with the right team behind him, I think he could do great, but I don't know that he's going to even get that far because he's so jaded right now and so angry about it. And I don't know what the Bengals will do with him. So, but that's a conversation for another day. Then we come to the Monday Night Football game that all of us are going to be watching. We've got the 49ers versus Old Man Rivers, technically at Indianapolis. But all of us pick the 49ers. And I want you to know, Desi, this was, you know, you losing actually helps the Lions, but I like you that much.
Oh, I love that. I want you guys to hear that, Terror Dome and Technics Chick, because I know they're all Niners fans too. So we love you for it. So, okay. Well, that is it for week 16. And that is it for the Girlfriends in Football this Wednesday. Guys, we're coming down to the final few weeks of the NFL regular season. So continue to show up with us every Wednesday as we keep rocking through. There's going to be more incredible headlines, more things we're going to chat about, more drinks to share, more Rate the Fits. Make sure you stay connected anywhere on social, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. We're all over the place, but we'd love to connect with you. Send us your questions. What questions do you have? What insights would you like us to share? Do you have specific questions on injuries? We'd love to tackle all of those things. So connect with us anywhere on our social media. And then make sure you join us next Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern time, where we're going to do it all over again. So that's it for this week. Take care and happy football.
Go Bills.